Hello and welcome. In this video, we're going to be talking about limits of multivariable functions. Now, let's take a look at this question. But to find the limit of xy over x plus y as x comma y tends to 5 comma 1. So here we can use direct substitution and get our answer easily, very easily. So substituting 5, we have 5, x is 5 and y is 1. 5 multiplied by 1 all over 5 plus 1, and we can get our answer to be 5 over 6. Let's take a look at another question. For this question, we have the limit as x comma y tends to 1 comma 1 of 2x squared minus xy minus y squared all over x squared minus y squared. Let's try to use direct substitution. If we use direct substitution, we're going to have 2 multiplied by 1 squared multiplied by 1 times 1 minus 1 squared all over 1 squared minus 1 squared. So I have 2 minus 1 minus 1. That's 2 minus 2. That is 0 over 0. I do not want this. So direct substitution cannot work in this instance. So the very first thing or the next thing I have to do is to try to simplify. Alright, so I can factorize this expression. I could say can be written as 2x squared. I'm going to be writing minus xy as minus 2xy plus xy. So this makes it easier for me to factorize. Then minus y squared divided by, I could write this in form of difference of two squares. So I have x plus y, x minus y. And this will be equal to, now taking this 2 and this 2, I'm going to factorize 2x. So I'm going to have 2x into x minus y plus y into x minus y divided by x plus y, x minus y. So I'm going to have this to be equal to 2x plus, the limit as x comma y tends to 1 comma 1. So after simplifying this, I have this to be 2x plus y, x minus y all over x plus y, x minus y. So now I can say this cancels out this, and I am left with the limits as x comma y tends to 1 comma 1, 2x plus y over x plus y. Now I can easily substitute and have this as 2 into 1 plus 1 all over 1 plus 1. And I have this as 2 times 1, 2, 2 plus 1, 3, and 1 plus 1, 2. And this is the answer to the question. Let's take a look at another question. We have three variables x, y, z. So we have the limit as x comma y comma z tends to 2 comma 1 comma minus 1, 3x squared z plus yx cos pi x minus pi z. So let's try direct substitution. We're going to have 3 into x is 2, 2 squared multiplied by z is minus 1 plus y 1 multiplied by x 2 cos pi x is 2, so let's say 2 pi. Alright, 2 pi minus z is minus 1. So minus times minus, we're going to have plus 1. Plus pi, since z is minus 1. Alright, So we're going to have 2 squared 4, 3 times 4 12. So we have minus 12 plus 2 cos 3 pi. We can just type this in our calculator and see what we're going to get. Starting, we're going to get minus 14. Remember to type this in your calculator in radians. Make sure your calculator is in radians. That is how you can get this correct answer. We have a question where we are tending to 0, 0. Let's look at this question. We have the limit as x, y tends to 0, 0, x squared all over x squared plus y squared. If we substitute directly, we're going to have 0 squared over 0 plus 0, which is 0 over 0, and we do not want this. This cannot be our answer. So what are we going to do? How are we going to go about this question? We cannot simplify. So how are we going to go about this? So let's see. We're going to approach from different points. So let's say this is our xy plane, and then we have okay, this is x, this is y, this is x, and this is the origin. At the origin we have 0, 0. Okay, so now when we approach the origin from the x plane, in the x plane, we're going to say that y is going to be 0. So let's say at the x plane, or along the x plane, I think that's a much better way to put it. Let's say along the x direction. Along the x direction, we're going to say that y is equal to 0. So we're going to take the limit as x tends to 0. Taking y as 0, we're going to have x squared over x squared plus 0. We're taking y as 0. So we're going to have this to be equal to the limit as x tends to 0 of x squared over x squared. This will be equal to the limit as x tends to 0 of 1, and this is equal to 1. Okay, now having done this, we're now going to go along, sorry about that, we're going to go along the y direction, approaching the origin along the y direction. So we're going to say along the y direction x is equal to 0. So we're going to take the limit as y tends to 0, x squared over, x is 0. So we have 0, 0, right? Replacing x with 0, 0 squared over 0 plus y squared. So this will give us 0, right? So because this is not the same as this, the value here is not the same as this value, that means that this limit does not exist. This limit does not exist. Let's take a look at one more question to buttress your understanding. So we have the limit as x, y tends to 0, 0, x squared y squared over x to the power 4 plus 3y raised to the power 4. So where do we start from? We start along the x-axis, right? We approach the origin along the x-axis or x direction, right? And so along the x direction, we say that y is equal to 0. So we'll now take the limit, making y 0. So as x tends to 0, y is equal to 0, and we're going to have x squared multiplied by 0 squared over x to the power 4 plus 3 open bracket 0 to the power 4. And so we're going to have this to be equal to 0. Alright? Now along the along the y direction now, along approaching the origin along the y direction, we're going to take x to be equal to 0. So we're going to say the limit as y tends to 0. Taking x to be equal to 0, we have 0 squared multiplied by y squared over 0 to the power 4 plus 3y to the power 4. We're also going to get 0 in this case. But we cannot stop here. Our answer cannot be 0. So we have to go in another direction. Looking at the question, we can go in the direction, let's say, when y equals to x. So if we say, if we have this is our xy plane, this is y, this is x. We have gone in the direction of the x towards the origin. We have gone in the direction of y towards the origin. Now we can go in the direction of the line y equals to x. Alright, so let's say along the direction y equals to x. So anywhere I see y, I replace with x. I'm going to have the limit, say x comma x tends to 0 comma 0 of, now y equals to x. I'm going to replace, I could replace x with y or y with x. So let's replace, since I've said x comma x is 0 comma 0, let's replace y with x. So we're going to have x squared multiplied by x squared divided by x to the fourth plus 3 multiplied by x raised to the power 4. So I'm going to have the limit as x comma x tends to 0 comma 0 of x raised to the power 4 over x to the power x raised to the power 4 plus 3x raised to the power 4 is 5x raised to the power 4. So this cancels out this, and my answer here is going to be 1 over 5. Now since this answer is a different answer to this, my answer, I mean the limit is just going to mean that the limit does not exist. The limit does not exist. So this is the answer to this question as well. The limit does not exist. Let's look at one more question, and let's look at how we're going to go. This a little is going to be a little bit different. So let's look at that also. I think I mean an error here. This should be 1 plus 3 is 4. So this should be 1 over 4. Alright, so let's take a look at that last question, the final question. So the question says to find the limit. So the question says to find the limit as x comma y tends to 0 comma 0 x cubed y all over x to the power 6 plus y squared. You can give this a trial, but when you look at this question, you can tell that when you go in the x direction, making y 0, you're going to get 0, right? And when you also go in the y direction, making x 0, you are also going to get 0. And when you go in another direction, if we are going to show our workings, let's go in the direction y equals to x cubed. We are going in this direction because this is the best direction we can go, that we are going to get another value. If you put x cubed, you're going to get x cubed multiplied by x cubed all over x to the power 6 plus x cubed all squared. Right, so you're going to have x to the power 6 over x to the power 6 plus x to the power 6. So this will be x to the power 6 over 2 x to the power 6, and this will be 1 over 2. Alright, and this will be a different value. Alright, and so definitely our answer here will also be does not exist. Alright, so this is just the scope of how this works, and it's actually not that different actually, but this is the scope of how it works. And I hope you've learned something. If you have, do hit the subscribe button and leave a comment, like the video. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.